Hey, all my movie maniacs, it's that time. It is I, Mark the Movie Man. Welcome to the Final Cut. And today we're looking at an independent film. And I know what you're thinking, but no, this time it's not a horror film. It's an independent action film, and it's called Intensive Care. It's brought to us by director Jared Bentley, giving us the story of Alex, who's a caregiver of Claire. She's been a caregiver for the elderly Claire for quite some time. Well, when Claire's grandson shows up out of the blue, well, something doesn't seem to be on the up and up. And soon her grandson is hooked up with a couple of old buddies of his who he used to get in trouble with. They decide to put a plot out to try to go after Claire's money. But standing in their way is Alex, who has a background they're not aware of that will help Alex protect the household and Claire's money and Claire from these nasty individuals. Intensive Care surprised me quite a bit. When you see an independent action film, it's hit or miss. You're not quite sure how those action scenes are going to go, because sometimes the choreography is fantastic, while other times you're just sitting there going, wow, that was really telegraphed and a little slow. But let me tell you, Intensive Care has some intense action scenes. Alex is played by Tara Mackin, and she pulls no punches, and I loved the fight choreography that they had in here. It was believable, the style that they picked for her. You imagine just how badass she could be, and she proves she can kick some major ass, and I loved every minute of the action scenes in this film. Well choreographed, fluid, you could actually tell what was going on. The camera moved just a little bit shaky, but not enough to where you couldn't see the movements, which is always great because actors and actresses put in such great, performances when they're fighting, and sometimes you can't see it because the camera's way too up close. But in this case, is not the case, and I really appreciate how they played out all the action sequences. Now, the rest of the cast in here does very well with their characters. You really don't care for any of the bad guys. There's no sympathy here whatsoever. It's just what level of slithering, slimy character you have in here. So I like that as well. They didn't really make these guys charismatic at all. You really don't like them at all. None of them. They all make your skin crawl. And Leslie Easterbrook does show up on camera. Not a lot in the role of Claire, but when she does show up, she's always doing a very good performance, and I really enjoyed her performance in here. And yeah, the production value is high for this film. I love the camera work as well, as I mentioned, not only during the fight scenes, but being able to capture the location where they're shooting this at. It mostly takes place at this one really great elaborate house, and I enjoyed that quite a bit, the use of space that they had in there. And there's a really cool scene near the end involving one of the characters being dragged by a truck, which I thought was especially well done in here. So overall, Intensive Care is a decent independent action film that I think if you're looking for independent action movies to watch, this is one that you should put on your list. The only thing that I will give warning about, though, is the tonal shift of this film is very drastic, and you're not quite sure if you're supposed to take this as kind of a lighter, joking film or a serious action film or kind of a heavy film, because it's got all of those elements in here, but the shift is just a bit drastic, especially with the type of ending it had. I was like, we went with this ending? Okay, but it didn't quite fit a good chunk of the rest of the film. So tonally, the film felt like it wasn't quite sure if it wanted to be kind of over-the-top funny action or some serious action, and so it's kind of left in the middle. But it didn't take me out of the film by any means, and I appreciate all the hard work that was done by everybody involved in Intensive Care. So check it out if you're curious at all or looking for a fun action indie film. I think you'll like this one. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you've seen Intensive Care, leave your comments down below. I appreciate every single one of you, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.